reality. This is going to be a very interesting topic, and I'm very excited for this one. So what we're going to do, if I could just ask everyone to kind of just mute their microphones so that we can just allow people, when they're speaking, we can hear them. Thank you very much. And yeah, we're going to do a quick sort of 30-second introduction from each person here. And then we'll get straight into the discussion. So we'll start with Paige Danzinger. It's good to see you as well, Paige. And yeah, please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Russell. And it is an honor to be with all of the members here on as a co-panelist. I am the founding director of Better World Museum, Horizon Art Museum, and Women in Horizon. I'm also on the leadership team of the XR Women and a global ambassador for the VR ARA. It is a delight to be here. And for the members here, I'm looking forward to learning about you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Paige. Anna Faye, welcome. And yeah, please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Anne Faye. I'm the founder and CEO of Leadership Coaching School and Business Consulting and Coaching. I've been in the tech industry for 20 years and this world is still continually changing and I'm learning every day. I'm a global speaker actually on leadership. My favorite topic is how to transform bosses from hell to heaven. And our company provides C-suite advisory services, training on strategy, leadership, and marketing communications, and we certify coaches. And to me, this topic is so important because we are advising leaders every day on what they could do with the whole digital transformation. So excited to be here on the panel to hear everyone's views.
I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on today. So thank you for joining us, Anne. Marjana, is that how you say your name? I apologize if I do get it wrong. It's correct, right?
Yes, it's correct. It's Miriam.
Awesome.
It's actually Miriana, but never mind.
Miriana?
With like Y, Miriana.
Miriana. Okay. Miriana, over to you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Miriam. I'm coming from Jazz Communication Consultancy. I'm a multimedia designer with a background in IT. But I shifted to art and design. Therefore, I like to combine technology and creativity in my work. I'm here today to explore a roundtable panels topics through my master thesis project, where with experience coming from this project, where I actually created digital experience. Actually, it's a combination, a multisensory immersive installation, which help us reconnect with the nature.
Wow.
It places humanity and nature in the first place, and help us to explore how artificial systems can actually enhance our experience. Because for me, it is very important that what we feel, whether it's virtual or real, it becomes our experience. So AI definitely can help us in this matter. And I am very happy to be at Gatherverse for the second time and explore future connections between humanity and technology.
It's a pleasure having you with us, Mariana, and thank you for joining us today. Alec, welcome.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, hi, welcome.
Fantastic. Hey, Russell and all panelists. Thank you so much, for inviting me here, Gatherverse team and Chris. Yeah, so I am a founder of a company called Animo Solution. We are a Web3 focused design development agency. My speciality is, obviously UI, UX, building metaverses and creating apps on blockchain. So I've been building metaverses, like they were called virtual worlds back then since 2007, right?
Wow.
And yeah, so that's quite old, right? So the idea is, how can these spaces, like we start as virtual spaces, can actually transcend borders, can transcend limitations, and give rise to everyone for a free self-expression, like in a world driven by a lot of prejudices, be it, I mean, so many, you can look around, right? So
Yeah.
how you can break them. And I also run 3 podcasts. One is called The Future of Web, where we get founders to come and talk about, how their work or their design or anything is impacting the space. And then there's one about tokenization, and then one about AI. Yeah, and I'm a guest faculty in a design institute, and I'm used to make short films. Hopefully,
Well,
to come back.
Well, thank you for joining us, Alec, and it's great to have you with us. And I'll definitely check out those podcasts for sure. Camilla, welcome. Last but not least of the panel, welcome, and please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So Camilla Sanders, founder and CEO of Greater Than Equal. I do strategy consulting for creatives, working at the intersection of technology, equity, and social impact. And so basically, I help creatives that have this grand ideal actually execute that ideal and realize their visions. Also co-host on AI for Creatives podcast and Fashion Futurist podcast. And so kind of my mission is to help to educate people and expose creatives and marginalized people to these types of technologies so we can break down barriers globally.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, Camilla. And all right. Also, I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is Russell Bundy. I'm Director of Partnerships at Galaverse, and also basically I handle all the partnerships, basically like sponsorships, and if you want to partner with Galaverse, all that kind of sort of stuff. That's what I do basically. And I also I have my own company as well. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm also a CEO of my company too. So that's me pretty much in a nutshell. I'd like to keep it very simple and straightforward. Don't go on. So we've got more time for questions and for discussion. So let's start with the first question, shall we? Which is, what principles guide the design of immersive and engaging virtual environments? Do you know what, Camilla? Since you did such an amazing introduction, I'm going to fire this question to you. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you really have to focus on the user. I think anything that you do, a lot of times people go off and they build these, wonderful, amazing things, and sometimes it's not functional. And so if you are really centering the user experience and looking from a perspective of the user that's going to be on there and making sure that the functionality is there and just centering the user in it, and then also making sure that it is immersive. So that's what we're seeing now with augmented reality and virtual reality, those immersive experiences that are just, amazing. So I think those are some of the principles. I'm sure others have more.
Well, thank you for sharing, Camilla. And I'm also going to fire this question over to Paige, because you have a long list of many organizations that you're with. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this too as well, Paige.
Thank you so much. It's really, the truth is, my experience in building around 300 worlds in different platforms is that it's really, I'd like to back what Camilla said about the user and say that the user is also has its agents, has their own agency. So having opportunities to have input of what that world looks like as a user, it makes you a collaborator and rebalances like from being a consumer to being a creator, right? It gives that person agency. So we really start with inclusion, accessibility, agency, and think of our users as collaborators, so that these worlds ultimately are of, by, for all.
Yeah, I think those are all important principles which you named there, including the community, of course, which are the users. So
yeah, I could add something here.
Sorry, 1 second, Mariana. Obviously, those principles are completely important, Paige. I was also just going to add another principle to that as well, which you said accessibility was one, but also the devices as well. I think that's also important too, in order to be able to create sort of those immersive, engaging virtual environments too. So anyway, yeah, Mariana, over to you. What did you want to input today?
Yeah, like three main design principles are the design is user engagement, that it provides interactivity with user design, and that has a good connected story. So it helps the overall context.
Okay.
In my master thesis, I also addressed all these three issues. I mean, topics, principles. When it comes to user engagement, it is done through visuals and sounds created by AI. So it evokes actual emotions from users, and they think about their role and their place in universe and nature. Because the topic of my master thesis is environmental message, raising environmental awareness. It is
Okay.
it is about how AI explores experiences actually an Amazon rainforest. So we have interactivity part, which I did through input data. They are collected from the nature, and they are actually the unifying parameter for all the processes in the plant. That is water pressure. So when
Okay.
plants want to warn each other, when there's a transpiration process, when they grow, when they communicate via, I think it's mycorrhizal or something like network, the fungi under
Okay.
the ground. They also do everything through the changes in water pressure. So when you collect this data and put as an input data for machine learning algorithms, then they actually produce visuals and sounds, which are talking about Amazon forest liveliness.
So I just want to kind of jump back to the principles. So the three main principles were storytelling, and then what the other two? Sorry.
It was user engagement.
Yeah.
It is through visuals and sounds.
Yeah.
They entertain and evoke emotions. The second one is interactivity.
Okay.
And this is done in two ways. The first one is collecting data from Amazon and forwarding as an input data to machine learning algorithms. So it's actually reflecting communication of AI with surrounding. The second point of interactivity is a user. User can also communicate with machine learning algorithms. For example, they can place hands on the spherical LED screen, and this is like increase in temperature, and that is processed also as an input data.
Right.
So all these things can change visuals and sounds. So we have engagement, we have interactivity.
Sorry, so just jump in. What's the third one?
The third one is the story.
Okay.
Storyboard, narrative.
Got you. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, and the third one is storyboard. It's the narrative is actually to showcase how something artificial and modern, like AI, experiences something ancient and organic, like nature.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing, Mariana. Because I want to get around the table, because obviously there's a lot of other people want to input on this, but thank you for sharing.
You heard the three principles.
The three principles, yes. Thank you very much. The next question now, which is, how can designers create virtual worlds that cater to diverse user needs and preferences? So, Alec, I'm going to bring you onto this, and then we'll go over to Anne after. And Mariana, if you could just mute your microphone, that'll be great as well. Thank you.
Cool. So I will carry forward, I mean, the ladies in the first question threw it out of the park, with so many diverse principles coming into the picture. So I wouldn't say continue, which kind of crossovers between the first question about principles and, how you can make it much more diverse needs, catering, which is the color theory, right?
Okay.
So what happens is that, when you're designing any experience or anything for that matter, based on a color theory, as they say, for warm colors, you take red, orange, other things, and for cool colors, and for environment friendly, you take a little bit of green and yellows and hues of that. So what happens is, so depending upon the context you're building it for and the audience that you're building it for, color theory in itself can play a very, very big and important role for adaptability, because in certain sections of the world, black is considered as a, not a good color, right? In some places, red is not a very, looked after or sought after color. So you have to be very mindful of, the kind of background of people that you're building it for. And to add diversity, it can obviously, have help from AI, where the certain parts of the environments can be dynamically generated based on the user, where I'm logging in from, because all those IP addresses and all that information is readily available, so you can have a sort of a custom, real-time custom environments being built. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Alec. And I also think maybe a part of that is from a data point of view as well. Like, you can have, from all the data you gather, you can kind of verify what sort of colors are best, and how can it be specifically defined, right?
Yes,
From
absolutely.
a UX standpoint. Yeah,
absolutely.
Anne, over to you. What are your thoughts on this question?
Oh, great. I think all wonderful thoughts that everyone has shared. I'll probably add a couple. The first one is really about the linguistic aspects, because I think now a lot of the platforms, they do cover the major languages, but there are also the minor languages and dialects, as well as accents. So this could be one consideration where we can broaden the variety of languages that would then provide greater, familiarity for the users. In the second area, I think it was also discussed in the previous panel, but I want to highlight here is that the diversity of culture for local context sensitivity. Because I think a lot of times the designer would probably see it from their own personal perspective, but how could we widen that perspective to take on a more worldview and really dive into the very unique cultures and bring that emotional connection to the users? The third area I want to talk about is about accessibilities. Of course, we talk about gadgets that might be maybe formatted for more neurodiverse users, because I think today there's a lot more awareness about different people who are adapting to this new digital transformation, and how do we bring them along in our journey without forgetting that they would need some customization to support their ability to come on the journey.
100%. 100% agree with all of those points, and I really think once once the glasses become stylish, and look cool, and don't weigh so heavy, then I'm sure a lot of people will adopt them, in their accessories, to be able to, instead of be looking at a phone, you'll be looking in the glasses instead, right? So, here's another question, which is, in what ways does storytelling influence the development of virtual reality? So, Mariana, we'll come to you on this one in just a second. I want to bring Camilla in first, and then we'll go over to you after Mariana. So, Camilla, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, storytelling is really the fundamental way that humans connect, right? And so when you're doing storytelling in a virtual world, you want to evoke that emotion that is going to happen and really engage people. And that is really how you engage. It's not just the interaction, it's about that story and that journey that people are going through. And especially in the social impact space, I mean, you have the power with this virtual world to connect people, right? And to give people that immersive experience. And not only are they able to see and experience things, but they're actually able to go along with the story that will mentally and almost subconsciously like connect to you and evoke different emotions. So it's super important when you're talking about developing virtual reality or virtual worlds.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I'm sure Mariana agrees as well. Mariana, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, storytelling narrative is very important. It sets the overall mood, the atmosphere. It sets the context. It also brings emotional depth and gives a framework for user to interact with the design. In my master thesis, again, the story was about expressing how artificial systems, technology experiences something organic. So I wanted to put humanity and nature in the first place, and to raise awareness about Amazon rainforest. Also, actually, it is inviting, the story in my master thesis is inviting users to reflect on their impact on the nature.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I agree with both of what you're saying there. I honestly, I haven't really got anything to add. I think those are both great points that both of you brought up. So, and I think that pretty much, summarizes the storytelling side. So, thank you, Mariana, for sharing that, and also Camilla as well. There's quite a few comments as well coming actually. FTV says great conversation. Luca says, for example, recently I found a treasure in One World 1, but I wasn't able to collect it and bring it to my space. I think he was referring to the question earlier actually, but yeah, thank you for sharing, Luca, as well, and FTB. And hello to Lynn as well, who just moderated the last panel. The next question now is, how can user feedback be effectively incorporated into the design process of virtual environments? So what I'm going to do with this one in particular is, Alec, I'm going to bring you in this because you're the UX UI expert here, I believe. And then also Paige, I'm going to bring you on this too as well after, because you have, like I said, such a long list, Paige. It's crazy. So, Alec, over to you.
Sure. I think one way is, first of all, to understand whether the feedback is valuable enough or not. Because what happens is, when you ask somebody for feedback, it can also open a can of worms, like people can just say anything and everything, right? So it is always important, when you've taken feedback, fantastic, well documented, but you have to have that discernment, what should you listen to and what you should not listen to. The best thing to listen to, like as an incorporation in the design process is when you listen to a variety of people who are talking about the same subject and pick up the common things, the common threads which everybody wants, as a feedback. Maybe it just could be, changing the icons size, or maybe the font, or as simple as that. Or when you're entering it, what does the welcome screen look like, when you are entering into a virtual world? Does it open doors, or does it looks welcoming enough or not? So anything which is common factor among multiple feedbacks, start with that and then go more deep into individual pieces.
That's so interesting. Yeah, no, that is so interesting. Like, I honestly, like, from a UI UX standpoint, I completely agree with that so much. So, yeah, and Paige, yeah, what are your thoughts? I'm sure you have a lot to add to this too.
Well, I have direct experience. This past week, I've been learning a new building technique. So I created a new world for my Women in Horizon group, and even set a date for tomorrow for an event there, right? A new avatar AI shirt party to show off our new shirts.
Where can people? Wait. Where can people go to that? I'm interested in that for a second. Where can people go?
Absolutely. All women and allies are invited to join. It's in the platform Horizon Worlds, which is accessible in a VR headset as well as a PC and mobile device, wherever like your access is accepting, or if you are able to access through a VPN. And it will be in a new published world for Women in Horizon. But in order to build this world, and I really just built it over the course of a week. I was impassioned with some new tools, and so I just went for it. But first, I put a poll in my group, and I asked the members if I didn't want to assume like I spent a bunch of time making a lounge, but that was like one of the very few things that people in the group wanted. They wanted more breakout rooms. They wanted business showcase areas. They wanted a shop to sell their items or like buy something, right? So areas that are supporting the community in different ways to foster more economic and connection growth. So then I built that, and I built all these spaces for it. But my floor was kind of tripped out. I did this thing with a couple of like transparent layers, and so I invited some friends in, and they said, "Oh, the floor makes me a little uncomfortable," or "This, I'm not so sure. Maybe the space is too large." And we tried every step and area to traverse in the world to navigate if some areas need a ramp or if some areas need this or that. And it was so helpful because I literally recreated that world using their feedback. And now I know that the world is more accessible to more people. And I was able to experiment in other ways that wouldn't make people feel dizzy if they were walking on my trippy floor. Instead, we have a trippy sky, or more, I put it in other places, right? So I was grateful. Sometimes you're in a bubble as a designer, and whether it's a client or a community, having feedback is important if it is a space where people will be.
Absolutely. The people will tell you exactly what they want, whether that's a certain floor design or whether something needs to be a certain color, like Alec was saying, or how a certain world should be, or the culture, etc. People will always give you that feedback. So thank you so much for sharing, Paige. And I can't agree with you more on that. So what role do aesthetics and sort of visual design play in shaping sort of like the user experiences in the virtual world? So Anne will bring you onto this, and then we'll also go over to you after Mariana. So Anne, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I love the fact that for something to be really great, it's to have a community of users who can test it and tell you how it looks, and for us to be able to edit it. But I think I'm going to bring on a very controversial point, is that if we create something that's beautiful, people are going to love it, and that's what drives the popularity and users onto the platform. But what if we were to show reality in its ugliness? How would that affect people coming on board? And would it create some sort of realization that perhaps our world is real, to appreciate what we have, and perhaps stimulate and motivate some of us to make a change in the real world for the better? So kind of just throwing this out there for thoughts.
So how would that affect the visual design, though, in shaping sort of like the user experience for that specific virtual world that you're saying?
I guess we could always create a perfect world in our visual design, and we could also create an alternative world, and that would compare and contrast so that users can experience both worlds and maybe gamify it and to create some action points so that we can drive a topic, a theme, or an action for people to want to rally towards and make the change from the virtual to the real world, kind of connecting that interactivity and takeaway.
Interesting. That is really interesting. Mariana, what are your thoughts on this? Like, what role does aesthetics and the virtual design play in shaping like the user experience in the virtual world? Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it has a very important role, crucial role, because it's similar to context. It's setting the mood, the atmosphere. It enhances the overall immersion, and it evokes actually everything. Everything starts with the design, and if design is good, then the story is flowing, and the overall message of design and virtual world is easily conveyed. But what aesthetics do, they evoke emotions and provide a deeper connection with the users, with audience. Everything is about that. So I was just recently looking at some newly created generative AI videos. It's about a mermaid. Mermaids were caught in the nets and extracted from the water. And those mermaids, I don't know if you've seen these videos, it's pretty ugly and it was repulsive. And It was like very strange animals with big noses and ears, and there was no aesthetics, and it was not appealing. So there was. It also produces some kind of emotions, but it's not pretty. It's
It's
nothing aesthetic, but definitely aesthetics play a role in evoking emotions, whether those emotions are positive or negative.
I can see Paige is agreeing. She's like, yes. I saw it in the comments page.
Yeah, so I'll just follow up on Anne and Mirjana, is that people often look for safe spaces, but we don't live in a safe world. We live in a world full of reality, and some of that reality is very ugly. We have horrible human rights infringements. We have everyday ecocides. We have racism. We have political divisions. We have arguments over human bodies and policing each other in the streets, and building worlds and experiences that explore these realities. What is ugly is silence or neutrality. And really, ugliness is pretending that these facets aren't in the world and just seeking that safe space. But we really need our brave spaces to express the realities of our lives and our culture and social experiences. And by doing so, we're able to, I believe, create worlds that we deserve and that can set a path for not only healing times and ancestors in periods of the past, but also create a stronger platform and foundation for the future. We have an opportunity, right, to create a better world, a stronger world, a more equitable and diverse world. And what would be ugly is not to use these technologies to do everything from protect nature to protect our neighbors.
Well, thank you for sharing, Paige. And also, like, I think, with the whole AI side as well, like, advancing so much, it can improve the aesthetics so much more, right? And also from a design standpoint, and also be able to speed up in creating these different design points too. So I just kind of want Ed to sort of add that part to it as well, because I definitely believe AI will definitely have a big sort of collaboration and part as we move forward. So thank you for sharing, Paige. Which obviously is our next question. Well, it's not obviously our next question, actually. The next question is completely different, which is, how can interactivity and user agency be enhanced in the virtual reality design? So, Camilla, you're smiling away with that bright smile of yours. So let's get you involved with this. Come on.
Yeah, I actually think this question totally relates to the one just before, because it's kind of like, design is very important as far as evoking emotion and getting people involved, but also it needs to be functional. You have to have a design that is functional and that users can be very interactive. So whether that's interacting with their environments and being able to have the autonomy that if they do a certain thing in the world, that it actually reacts to that thing that they do in a realistic way. But then, or not in a realistic way, but it reacts. But then also allowing people to kind of like choose wherever they want to go and what they want to do in different paths. And even more than that, when I was thinking about the last question, I was thinking about, well, there's a lot of examples of worlds, or if you think about like Roblox, right? That is
Right.
not visually appealing at all, but it's more about that collaborative environment. So some of the best worlds, they foster that collaboration and that connection and the interactivity with other people and kind of that autonomy to do whatever you want in that world. So I think that that's really what enhances the design.
Wow. You've unspilled a lot there, Camilla. That's great. You was like holding that in. You was like, Russell, just let me go. I want to release it. That's brilliant. Alec, what are your thoughts on this quickly as well?
No, so I think what Camilla said, it's really important. And what I would just, slightly add, if I may, is that if you gamify any experience, what that does is, it adds a little bit of interactivity, and it makes everybody, the user, loosen up a little bit, because once you add gamification, the instincts come into the picture, that you want to play it, you want to earn some rewards, you want to earn some tokens, and, just have a good time, not make it very aggressive. And that's where the game designer as a role, as a person, plays a very, very important role, of how to design that game.
It kind of makes me think as well, like there is people inside of Roblox, right, creating their own virtual worlds and stuff, right? They're literally like the creator, like the designers, you're saying, right? But
Yes.
also at the same time, they are also making a ton of money from doing this, right? Like kids are becoming millionaires, right, from being on Roblox. So it's very interesting how you're saying the gamification aspect and then also being the internal designer. And it's like their community are the internal designers and are the people that are earning the revenue from that. Like, what just quickly, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a very good way, because see, for anything to be sustainable, it needs to make monetary beneficial sense. Like if somebody's not earning anything, like the variety and the volume can make a difference. But I'm saying, if any platform, like, all of us are here on a professional way, right? So for professionals, anybody trying to do anything, they need to make some money out of it, right? You can obviously do your all social needs, and we want to support a lot of charities, support a lot of people with education. All that can only be, coming from the heart when you are self-satisfied professionally and making decent living. So
that's true.
From that point of view, it creates a very good ecosystem. So it's gamifying it, it's getting more users, it's paying, handsomely, as you said, to the creators. So in a way, it's creating a very good ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, when I first heard about it, my mind was blown. So when I heard that, I was like, "What? No way!" But yeah, it's true. So, so the next question is, what technological innovations are most critical for advancing virtual world design? And obviously, we've touched upon it, like AI and stuff like that, but. I want to bring in Mariana on this because we just Alec, you just spoken, so I want to bring Mariana in because she's like the AI guru right now, right? And also we'll bring in Anne as well into this conversation. So over to you, Mariana.
Technological innovations which are most critical.
Yes.
Again, we are about visuals and design and aesthetics. Those are graphic engines. Alec also mentioned gaming, and we cannot think about the gaming industry without strong graphic engines. So you can see this from popularity and profit NVIDIA is making. So you cannot think about any Mac PC without NVIDIA or similar. So definitely graphics. Then probably robust hardware, which can hold the virtual world, because internet as well, if we think about metaverse, maybe some territories, infrastructures, or people, even users, could be cut off due to lack of these technological components, for example, internet and hardware. So, and of course, AI would be a very significant component because AI really drives innovations these days. So this rapid development of AI is definitely going to add pretty much to development of virtual worlds.
I 100% agree. AI is like one of the most critical technological innovations of our time. I get blockchain is great and everything. I get the metaverse and VR and XR and all these amazing other technologies, but AI is just one of those monsters where it's just like it's wrecking havoc on everything, right? It's not just one particular industry, it's all industries on another level. So Anne, over to
Yes,
you. What are your thoughts on
yes,
all this?
definitely AI, 5G, and since you mentioned, I was gonna say blockchain is critical because it's not just for every industry, but in particular in the virtual world, how do we manage digital ownership and asset transfers? Because at some point
Mhm.
in time, when you're buying the houses in your virtual world, you will be transferring stuff from the virtual to the real world. So perhaps blockchain is that next technology which will be critical in advancing the design and the use of the virtual world. One big question also, now that we have sight and sound, what technology will bring in that smell that will create a full sensory experience?
True, true. Yeah, I mean that's gonna be crazy, and also we're gonna have robots as well, and there's gonna be so many different crazy innovations happening. By the way, we don't have much time left. What does AI smell like? Christopher just said. All right, that's funny, Christopher. That's funny. um okay, so let's go on to the next question because we've got literally like 2 questions left. So my question, and this question is, how can designers balance creativity with functionality in virtual environments? Camilla, we'll bring you on this one, and then we'll go to the next question, and then we'll bring in other people so that we can finish these questions off. So Camilla, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I probably have a quick answer. I think it's about collaboration. So, collaborating with the technical side, the engineers, the creatives, and then also collaborating with the community, right? So, a lot of times creatives
100%.
go in a silo and they build things, but you have to, every step of the project, before launch, during launch, after launch, you're always collaborating with the community. And they're going to tell you, like, hey, this does not work this way, or this doesn't, So that's, I mean, you have to have someone that's going to step outside of what you're doing and actually like test it. So just that collaboration and communicating with your community.
Absolutely. And we'll go straight on to the next question, and then Alec will bring you onto this one, which is what strategies can be employed to ensure accessibility and the design of virtual realities? I think this is a great question for you.
Well, I think the strategy first is, like I'll come back to the basics, there was a strategy called KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
Yes, I love that one. That's my motto.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so the very, very important, first thing is to talk to the users. All of us have said it, in different parts, that talk to the users. Once you understand from the users, the community, what they're looking for, then everything else, can be built up on it. However, there's a caveat that sometimes, user can only know, whatever they've experienced. I'll give you an example of Apple. What they did was, till the time, iPhone came out, everybody was, playing with better buttons, bigger buttons, smaller buttons. Everybody's trying to play with, those Blackberries and button phones,
Yeah.
with QWERTY
Yeah.
keyboards. But Apple, came up with something out of the box with, like a flat screen, only screen phone. So sometimes, you have to have that innovation, maybe without going to the users, because very few users would have thought about it, right? So it's like a mix and match of, what you want to do directly, expressed by the users, and how can you build something that users may not think of at that point in time, right?
What,
So,
sorry,
and that's, yeah, go ahead.
No. I was just also thinking that kind of just made me think like, what just this is a very quick question. What are your thoughts like on no code sort of AI, right? Accessibility virtual spaces. What do you what's your quick opinion on that?
Well, see, no code AI is definitely very good. It's going to help a lot of people. So you see a lot of people who are designers, trying to build applications with, trying to have code written by ChatGPT or Bard, and people who are non-designers trying to create some designs with the use of AI using different platforms, right? So coming to virtual spaces, there are definitely a lot of platforms coming up, which are creating 3D spaces with just a simple prompt. However, what is important is for somebody who hasn't built any space, what sort of prompt you need to write. That's where the creativity and the learnings will come into the picture, because otherwise, keeping the question in mind, accessibility will not be there. It might just look pleasing, but accessibility for people might not be a reality then. So it's just a mix and match. And plus, I was just going to say A/B testing. Like it's a very important term, that you build it and test it, then gather feedback and then reiterate it. It's a continuous process.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely. Yeah, no, and also like, yeah, I was just thinking like AI side, can spin things up very quickly, use AI to be able to collaborate with. Apparently we only have 5 minutes left, so we'll get into these last 2 questions. And we'll bring you on to this one, which is how do ethical considerations impact the design and development of new realities? You've got about 60 seconds to answer this in, so fire your best shot.
I think technology is meant to harness and empower humanity. So if we were to do that, the ethics really is about how can we be responsible to create something that is compassionate, empathetic with collective intelligence and being able to care for everyone and make a better world. So I think if we summed up the ethics, it's about being responsible and caring.
Oh, wait. Okay. Well, this is our last question, actually. So, Paige, you can jump on this too. What are your thoughts? I didn't realize this was our last question. Apologies. So, yeah, what are your thoughts, Paige?
Thank you. I really loved the last, Anne's statement. And that's left me the idea of being more loving and caring, right? And that includes looking at the realities of the tools that we're using. I love AI. I love it so much. I use it every day, but I'm really concerned that it is inspiring like new nuclear facilities. So we need to, as I said, discuss some of these uglies and create what is actually the best road maps for not just humanity and nature, but beyond, right? Where we're going to be including this space travel in these discussions before not too long, as well as creating more cities that are edible and functionable for all members in our community, not just like the fancy mall strip for people downtown. These technologies, our ethical standards need to broaden and expand dramatically. Discussions like this will help do that. Thank you.
100%. And I'll just add to that as well: transparency, accountability, fairness,
Accessibility.
non-bias, accessibility. Yeah, we can go on and on and on, but I think we are pretty much out of time, as I believe. So thank you very much to everyone for joining us today on the panel. It's been amazing having you all here. So much has been discussed, so much has been shared. So I appreciate all of your time here at Galaverse, and thank you for joining us. So make sure you all go and check them out on LinkedIn, of course. Make sure you search them up, search their names, connect with them, and have loads more interesting discussions. Or even if you just want to, collaborate, then definitely do that as well. My name is Russell Bundy. I am the Director of Partnerships at Galaverse, and this has been an amazing panel. But it's over from me, and it's over from the panel. And Christopher, I'm going to hand it over to you. See you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Greetings, hello, and welcome to our last fireside chat of the Virtual World Symposium. Well, today I'm very privileged to host the founder himself of Gadaverse, and we're going to talk about humanizing virtual world. Christopher Lafayette, please introduce yourself to those who don't know who you are, but basically they do. But please tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, Len, I'm certainly happy to be here with all of you today and on this third day of the Virtual Symposium, which has just been outstanding. We're coming off the heels of really a fantastic roundtable discussion, and we even have a powerhouse that's already situating in the green room here together.